Thank you. I think you can use this.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very honored to be here today. And let me start by thanking the leadership of this association for extending an invitation to me. And please permit me to stand on all existing protocols. I really love how Professor Moragwe opened up the session earlier in the afternoon with an interesting discussion on climate equity. I particularly love when she said energy access should be just, inclusive, and equitable, with nobody left behind. Nobody left behind. I think this phrase particularly resonated deeply with me because it reminds me of a popular phrase in my graduate school where we say, "No fellows left behind." It speaks to one of the core values of the institution, which emphasizes togetherness and inclusion. In the opening ceremony, Mr. Osage Okumbo and Dr. Zainab Gobir talked about the need to balance the energy equation. And our lead speaker, Professor Dayo Amukaye, gave a robust definition of the energy transition in Africa, the impact of climate changes on the continent, and he also highlighted the need to develop self-sufficient, customized systems and solutions for Africa by Africa. So a lot of the discussions we have heard today really resonate with some of the key points I want to make, and I'll try to go through them very fast, which look at how we can adopt a more systematic approach to creating a pathway for sustainable development across the continent. Energy transition in the African context needs to be discussed in the broader context of sustainability. We must be willing to address pertinent questions such as, how does Africa survive and thrive as a continent? How does the African continent become more resilient on the journey to meet its current needs and the needs of generations to come? At the heart of it, sustainability is about continuity of our kind. The very ethos of the African experience promotes and prioritizes the needs of the collective over the needs of the individual. It is thus fair to say that thinking of others is in the DNA of who we are as an African people. This is aptly encompassed in the Zulu word Ubuntu. I am because we are. A sustainable Africa would mean adopting a systems thinking approach where we thoroughly evaluate the systems that make up the larger ecosystems of Africa. In our educational systems, this would mean inculcating a sustainable mindset in the hearts and minds of Africans, promoting thoughtfulness in our every endeavor. In our agricultural systems, this would mean strengthening our current capacity and promoting consumption of local produce and delicacies across the continent, not just competing on who has the best jollof rice. By the way, we know Nigeria has the best jollof rice. In our transportation systems, this would mean our ability to provide safe and reliable mobility of people and materials across the continent. In our manufacturing systems, this would mean building reliable and efficient supply chains as a key lever to driving cost efficiencies and improving the ease of doing business across the continent. In our infrastructural systems, this could be as simple as re-examining how we design and build our homes to leverage natural lighting and cooling to minimize power requirements, and as sophisticated as exploring how we embed the SDG recommendations to develop climate-smart infrastructure. When I think of sustainability in the African context, I think surviving, I think thriving, and I think growth across various sectors of the economy. Prior to now, a lot of the global and somewhat local conversation around sustainability has felt a lot like what organizations and governments should be doing. While it is true that integrated and efficient systems are the engine that provide the pathway to a sustainable future, people are the fuel that would ignite the engine. We must broaden the conversation to include the role of the individual and the impact decisions made at the family units have on system efficiency. After all, it is the behaviors of people that ultimately shapes the culture of society. This brings to the forefront the topic of sustainable decision making and the role the education system can play to drive behavioral change. Our educational systems should be used to drive a paradigm shift from activity or individual need-based to a more outcome-based approach, which enables more purposeful decisions. For example, do I need 5 cars to transport my family, or do I need safe and reliable transportation for my family? And how does this shift in my perspective of transportation influence my buying decisions and various life choices I make? Just as education can serve as a catalyst for driving behavioral adjustments by increasing awareness of personal accountability, policies can serve as the foundation to help anchor the right behaviors within the systems, which will translate to wider positive societal impact. Suddenly, I am more thoughtful about how my household waste is disposed because there are policies and laws that either reinforces or balances my behavior. There were lots of discussions earlier today around policies, and I believe that we must leverage existing policies, but also look for ways to guide and accelerate implementation. We need policies to foster entrepreneurship, policies that promote end-to-end thinking of businesses, fostering the development of sustainable business models, where the average entrepreneur must thoroughly understand the life cycle of product and service delivery. We need policies to stimulate energy market development, policies to enable collaboration across industry and continents by encouraging partnerships and collaborations, where Africa can unite and leverage the strengths of the collective to become a resilient and stronger continent. So all these points I have made so far largely speaks to the demand side of the equation. On the supply side of the equation, it has been said by many that have spoken before me today, and I too re-echo the sentiments that opportunity exists for the African continent to maximize the plethora of resources that are available to us to ensure security of energy supply. Natural gas is pivotal to our transition to a low-carbon energy system. This has to be enabled by technology to improve operational efficiency and reduce carbon emissions along the end-to-end integrated gas value chain. Expanding the use of renewable energy sources that we have, like solar. How do we harness the gift of abundant sunlight to provide access to affordable, sustainable, and reliable energy for all? Minimizing waste and designing waste disposal systems to unlock the hidden potential behind repurposing solid waste as a viable alternative source of energy. Exploring technology opportunities locally and globally to drive down the cost of renewable energy sources and continuously look for ways to reduce environmental impacts across our current and future energy value chain. In summary, a combination of our systems and policies will play a huge role in shaping our energy demands. Systems that are strategically designed and customized for our unique purpose, policies that influence how we demand, use, conserve, and demand of our energy sources and raw materials. Finally, I would end by saying that fundamentally, the pathway to sustainability is about how we shape the future of our energy demands and how those demands will ultimately determine the unique strategies that we can adopt to ensure sustainable supply of energy across the African continent. Thank you.